thePLsurfer Video Tutorials for Educators. In this episode, we will be learning to create formative and summative assessments using Google Forms. By the end of the video, you will be able to select a theme, write a survey description which motivates people to complete the survey, create 5 different types of survey questions including checkboxes, choose from a list, multiple choice, paragraph text, and finally, grid. Complete the confirmation message that will be seen by respondents when they click Submit. View and test a live survey. Review results in the spreadsheet. Capture the live survey link to send out to students so that they can access the survey. And finally, make use of branching logic to ensure that only the relevant questions are displayed to the appropriate respondents. All right, let's get started building our survey. After you log into your Google Drive account, you will see a screen like the one seen here. As you create surveys, they will be listed here. On the left-hand side of the interface, under My Drive, you can create folders in which you can group your surveys. To create a new survey, click the red Create button and select Form. Let's begin by typing a title for the survey. Then, let's scroll down to select an appropriate theme. Left-click on the theme of your choice, and then click OK. Next, in the form description, let's motivate people to complete the survey. To begin with, state the purpose for the survey. Next, explain how completing the survey will benefit respondents. Thirdly, assure respondents that it will take them only a few minutes to complete the survey. Finally, if applicable, advise respondents that the survey is completely anonymous. For example, a Google Forms survey is anonymous unless respondents are asked to enter their name in a specific field. By default, Google sets up the survey with one question. To edit this question, hover your cursor to the right of Untitled Question and click the Pencil or Edit button. Next, I'm going to show you the steps for creating a question, beginning with the type called checkboxes. Firstly, type your question. Which of the following are characteristics of feedback which will assist students with progressing along the learning continuum? Secondly, help text. If necessary, provide supplementary directions for respondents. Thirdly, select the type of question. In this case, checkboxes. With the case of checkboxes, we now need to enter the options. Respondents can choose from 4 options: descriptive, criterion referenced, norm referenced, and timely. Next, decide whether or not the question is required. If a question is marked required, respondents will not be permitted to continue on to the next page or to submit until they answer the question. Finally, when you're done creating your question, click Done. Having completed our checkbox question, Next, let's create a drop-down question or choose from a list, as Google calls it. With this type of question, respondents are limited to selecting only one choice. To add our second question, simply click the drop-down arrow beside Add Item and select Choose from a List. You will see that I have already entered my question. During this session, we will be discussing 3 of the 9 research-based instructional practices proven to positively impact student achievement. The second edition of Classroom Instruction That Works proposes a framework for instructional planning composed of 3 components. In which of the components do you believe non-linguistic representation and cues, questions, and advanced organizers will be included? My question type is Choose from a List. By clicking the drop-down arrow beside Choose from a List, I can change my question type if necessary. I have also typed in the 3 options for my drop-down list: creating the environment for learning, helping students develop understanding, and finally helping students extend and apply knowledge. Let's make this a required question. Prior to clicking Done, I would like to point out that Google Forms offers branching logic. Beside question type, notice the option Go to Page Based on Answer. If I check this box, I can now direct respondents to different questions based on their choice. We will take a closer look at branching logic later in the video once we have covered the basics of survey creation. To complete our question, let's click Done. At this point, I will also mention that you can always edit, duplicate, or delete a question by hovering to the right of the question and clicking on the appropriate icon. The pencil for edit, the 2 sheets of paper for duplicate, and finally the trash bin for delete. After editing a question, be sure to click Done. I should also mention that with Google Forms, there is no need to worry about saving your survey. Google takes care of that for you. I created my third question by clicking multiple choice in the drop-down list beside Add Item. I have already entered my question. All of the following are examples of non-linguistic representation. In this case, I have decided to enter the examples into the Help section of the form so that they will appear in a slightly different font from the question itself. The examples in the Help section include concept map identifying a paragraph's main idea and supporting details. Number 2, in math class, pieces of a chocolate bar are used to meet outcomes for fractions. Thirdly, clip art is used to help students remember words that begin with the D sound. Fourthly, students act out the movement of molecules when liquid is heated. And finally, a graph shows what happens to the temperature inside a mitten when a hand is placed in the mitten. Respondents have 2 choices, true and false. In the case of a multiple choice question, the survey creator can also click Add Other, thereby providing respondents with the option to contribute their own idea. Notice that branching logic can also be applied to a multiple choice question. To create the 4th question, let's choose Paragraph Text from the Add Item drop-down. Now would be a good time for a tip. Like other web-based applications, Google Forms occasionally experiences glitches. As a result, I would recommend always first creating and saving a survey in a Word doc. You can then simply copy and paste questions and answer choices into the survey tool. I will begin creating my paragraph text question by pasting my question from a Word doc. The question reads, in point form, identify ways in which cues, questions, and advanced organizers assist students during the learning process. Notice that for question type, you can also select text if only a one-line response is required. Let's click Required and then Done. To complete the survey content, let's create a grid question. The question asks, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statements? I have decided to enter the 5-point scale with the descriptors into the Help section of the form. By choosing a 1 on the scale, respondents are indicating that Glyphy, Google Forms, or Glogster is a new tool for them. 2. I have attended a PD session on Glyphy, Google Forms, Glogster, but have not had a chance to implement what I learned in the classroom. 3. I am comfortable using the majority of Glyphy, Google Form, or Glogster's functionalities. 4. I have a general idea of how I could use Glyphy, Google Forms, or Glogster with students to improve learning. 5. I am already using Glyphy, Google Forms, Glogster with students to enhance learning of specific outcomes. Please note, rather than entering the scale descriptors into the Help section, the survey creator could choose to add the descriptors with the scale points in the column labels. Entering only numbers into the column labels, however, makes data analysis much easier. For example, a formula could be applied to calculate the average response. In the row labels, I have added the 3 statements to which users will be responding. Number 1, I am comfortable using Glyphy with students for concept mapping. Number 2, I am comfortable using Google Forms with students for formative and summative assessment. 3, I am comfortable using EduGlogster with students for the creation of multimedia posters. The column labels 1 through 5 represent the 5 points on the response scale. To finish up, let's click Required and Done. Just before we move on to the confirmation page, I would like to show you that it is a simple process to rearrange questions. Simply hover over the question until you see the 4-directional arrow. Then left-click and push your question to wherever you would like to place it in the survey. Having completed the creation of the survey questions, let us now copy and paste from our Word doc a message for the confirmation page. This is the message respondents will see upon submit. For this survey, I am going to ensure that all 3 options below are unchecked. For our purposes, we will not click Send Form in the lower left, as we will be sending an email and the link to the survey using Outlook. To view and test your live form, simply click View Live Form in the upper left above the survey's title. This is the live form that your respondents will see. It is always a good idea to test your form prior to sending the link out to respondents. After completing the survey, be sure to click Submit in the lower left. To view your survey results, click on the Browser tab for the version of your form in edit mode. This will generally be the tab to the right of My Drive, Google Drive. Next, click View Responses. You will see your survey responses organized in a spreadsheet. You can conduct data analysis right in the Google spreadsheet, or you can export the data to Excel by clicking File, Download as, Microsoft Excel. To wrap up, in this first part of our video tutorial, we covered 6 objectives. We selected a theme, wrote a survey description, created 5 different types of survey questions, including checkboxes, choose from a list, multiple choice, paragraph text, and grid. We also completed the confirmation message. In addition, we viewed and tested a live survey, and finally, we reviewed results in the spreadsheet. Join me in the second part of this tutorial to capture the live survey link and to make use of branching logic.